Hi, storytellers. It's good to be back. You can see by the table behind me that the puzzle is out and we have some Christmas decorations going on. So we are in full swing for Christmas preparations. That's why it looks so busy behind me. But today I wanted to talk about your story's theme. So what is your story's theme in your novel? It really is the story's underlying or central idea. What is the critical belief about life that you as the author are trying to get across in your novel? A good question to ask would be, what is the overall message you want readers to take away from your story? Theme is the meaning behind the story, and it's expressed through what happens in the plot, through your character's internal and external journey. So plot is what happens in your story, and theme is why it happens. Usually your story theme is universal in nature, so that there's many readers can relate to your theme. So theme is the big idea that you want to introduce your readers to. Your character's motivation for gaining this thing that your main character desires most in your story must be central to your story's theme. So it's important that you set up the question, and you do it by way of the lie or the misbelief that your character believes. This means creating a consistent story-long battle that your main character will have to deal with, sort of struggling between the lie and the truth that they believe, right? First question to ask yourself, why do you want to write this story? Because sometimes when you ask that question, you will by jotting down ideas, you'll see the truth start to be revealed as to why you're passionate to write this specific story. Maybe you had a revelation in your own life that transformed your life for the better, and you want to share that in a novel. So ask yourself, will your main character overcome his lie and discover the truth in the end? And will your main character have helped others to find the truth that the main character already knows? And another good thing to ask is, will your story end happily or unhappily? Because that will also play into how your story begins. And so by answering these questions, you will find the central theme of your story. So then, the second part of this, for your main character or your protagonist, flip whatever that truth is. So when you find that theme, flip it around and make it the lie, because this is the part where protagonist steps onto the page of your novel, right? So your main character, your protagonist, will step into the pages of your novel believing a lie, right? Basically, every character has desires, fears, and lies that they believe. An example is actually the classic novel Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Her basic lie is that she isn't worthy to be loved, but she also believes that she can earn love if she's willing to enslave herself to others, both physically and emotionally. So in other words, the truth would be that she is valuable. The lie would be that she is worthless, right? And so you see this in Jane Eyre. This, oddly enough, is a similar theme in my women's fiction, Clean Romantic Suspense, which I will be publishing, in the next few weeks. But Lizzie, the heroine, her parents died in a boating accident when she was 11. She's sent to live with her grandparents on Martha's Vineyard, and she believes, because she's abandoned by her parents, aka they died, that she isn't valuable and that she doesn't really belong anywhere. So at the start of the story, when her husband of 26 years dies suddenly, Lizzie is left alone, and she really feels, again, that she's been abandoned. And, here's another thing. All her married life is she did whatever it took to please her husband, to please her friends, to please her children, basically everyone. She's just pleasing everyone, right? But now she has to decide for herself and run her own life and learn new skills. So now this is going to be the interesting part. How is she going to deal with all of this, right? And so the truth is that she is valuable and she is loved and she does belong, But the lie she believes is that she's worthless and that she doesn't really belong anywhere. And so we'll have to tackle that in the story. The third thing to sort of find your theme would be to find the origin of the lie that your heroine believes. So dig into your heroine's past and learn her backstory. I actually really like this part. I love diving deeper into what the main character's trauma, lies, misbeliefs are. It just really helps me to figure out the overall story. And so, a question to ask yourself: what happened in your main character's past that caused this misbelief? So if we go back to Jane Eyre, the lie, that she believes, that she is worthless. The lie began when her parents died when she was young, and then Jane went to live with her aunt, but she was ostracized from her aunt and her aunt's family. So finally, her aunt sends Jane away to live in a miserable charity school for orphans, but she's mistreated there. And so, needless to say, she does not feel like she is valuable, right? She feels like she is worthless. Often within our childhood, what we believe these things and they become truth to us, right? Life experiences from childhood onwards seems to be the way in a novel also that, because a novel reflects true life, right? That seems to be the way that the character will see everything through that lens. And so these are good things to explore, to find the origin of the lie that your heroine believes, right? So just brainstorm and even ask your character a question. James Scott Bell mentions that in his book, Writing from the Middle. Ask your main character questions. Like, it's almost like doing an interview with, it might seem odd, but do an interview with your main character and just watch what she tells you. I've done that. I've been surprised. So really the next step number 4 to figure out your story's theme would be look for ways that your main character acts on their lie in different ways. So what creates our personalities and what we believe isn't so much what happened to us, only one time, but it's because in our minds we rehearse that, right? We go over and over and over again what we believed or the incident that caused it or something, something like that. And then these habits become, it really shapes who we are, right? Our identity, our character. And so this is also true of our main character, right? And the other characters. So a question to ask yourself would be, how does your heroine cement their lie as truth by acting on it, repeatedly? What do they do where they act on that lie? Because when they repeat the cycle, this brings your heroine to a place where they're basically in a mess as your story begins. And you want them kind of to be in a mess because it's at the beginning of the story, because you want to see that transformation happen, right, throughout your story, so that finally she gets a revelation near the climax at the end of your story. And so this is this is what readers are looking for. They're looking for that transformation, and how are they going to finally find the truth at the end of the story? For example, in my women's fiction, Clean Romance, when Lizzie moves to her grandmother's beach house that she has inherited now, she begins to remake it into an inn, but she doubts herself again and falls into people-pleasing. And even the two women who aren't necessarily very nice to her, Ava and Cecily, Lizzie still tries to please them. She's falling into this people-pleasing mode. Really, what it'll take a major shift for your heroine to see the truth, that something that will basically get rid of the lie and the lies that they believe. This takes us to number 5. When you write your heroines, basically their epiphany or their aha moment, or their dark moment. It might actually be all included in that. It might be their dark moment at the climax. And it often is where they have this big revelation, is toward the climax. For example, in Jane Eyre, the disaster Jane faces is when there is a fire at Thornfield Hall and Mr. Edward Rochester is hurt in the accident. So this is a disaster, right? This is a pivotal moment when your heroine realizes the truth, right? And so Jane, she hears about the fire at Thornfield Hall and she hurries there. First, they start out, your heroine, your main character, starts out making fear-based decisions and repeats the cycle of believing the lie. And then they will, have a big mess, really, that will catch up to them. And this is where the aha moment is, or the dark moment in your story. And your heroine will, in that aha moment, will have the revelation they need to help them to start acting on their truth. And in my women's fiction story, now I won't give you any spoilers, but there is a final disaster that ends up giving Lizzie the revelation she needs, that she is valuable and worthy of love, and that she belongs on the island. And so I won't go further than that, otherwise, it'll be spoilers for you for the story. But story is basically about what happens to your main character and your other characters, how it affects and transforms them. And it's about your main character going on this internal journey that pushes them out of their comfortable place, and it challenges all those things that they believe, their lies, basically, and it changes them and transforms them for the better. And so this is really what your theme is, right? It's that critical belief and the overall message that you want readers to take away. It's the true meaning behind the story, and it's expressed through the internal and external journey of your main character, mostly the main character, but other characters will also play into the theme. I hope that helps. This is something that I am getting down to. Trying to write it in a way in the story I'm writing. I'm trying to get down to what the main theme is, and that revelation, like James Scott Bell in his excellent book, the writing the mirror moment. That is really what I'm trying to figure out in my story. But it does help when you have that mirror moment, because it's when the character finally looks at themselves and into their life and says, this is what truly matters, right? This is who I am. The rest of it is not true. And so this is good, because this is the transformation that readers are wanting to see in your novel. And so I hope that helps. I hope it helps you to sort of figure out what the theme is in your story, and I hope it helps you to ask the questions that you need to get down to what is really the underlying lie that your main character believes, and what is the truth, and how are you going to show that at the climax? How are you going to get her? Is there a disaster or something that happens to get your main character to finally stop believing the lie and to lean into the truth? So think about that as you are writing your story, and I hope this helps you to find the theme in your story. And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. Talk to you later.